From the center of the galaxy, this is ForceCenter, a show about Star Wars, pop culture, and the ultimate adventure, life itself. I'm Ken Napzok.
I'm Joseph Scrimshaw.
It's one of those days. I'm Jennifer Landa.
I paused because I was about to say I've got a case of the Mondays, but this episode's released on Tuesday, so, well, we record Mondays. I think we're all dealing with some Mondays, but we're here. We're going to look at Star Wars news, breaking news from a long time ago, and sometimes it's days or weeks. It's our chance to catch up with Star Wars news. A lot of fun, some great stuff to get to. Before we get to that, as always, I want to remind you that today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/ForceCenter. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Right now, I've got a Force Center recommends an audiobook we think you should try out on us. It is The Living Force by John Jackson Miller. Download your free audiobook today by going to audibletrial.com/ForceCenter. Again, that's audibletrial.com/ForceCenter for your free audiobook. I am a week behind my own reading schedule for The Living Force, and maybe I should just put it in my ears there. But we got our Ask segment now, but also an announcement. We got a double A here, Joseph, on some cool things coming.
So close to a triple A. Yeah, I don't normally listen to the audiobooks, but I'm dying to hear what Jarl Poof sounds like. I've got Jarl Poof fever from that book, so maybe I'll check it out. So if anybody's listening, tell me what Jarl Poof looks like. You could even lie to me and I wouldn't know. Like, he's got a Scottish accent. Cool. I wouldn't know. Anyway, moving on to our asks. But first, an announcement that will lead into the ask. We are having so much fun celebrating The Phantom Menace on its 25th anniversary with the rest of the Star Wars world. Ken and I were delighted to be able to go see it on the big screen at El Capitan on May 3rd, right before Star Wars Day. But we also want to celebrate the traditionally observed holidays of the actual release dates. So we are going to be doing a Phantom Menace celebratory live stream on the anniversary of its actual release this Sunday, May 19th. Noon to 2 p.m. Pacific time. I will let you all consult your world calendars to see when that is for you. But for us here in California, noon to 2 p.m. Sunday, May 19th, we will be taking your thoughts, your questions as we celebrate the release date of The Phantom Menace. Ken, do you have anything to add to that?
I'm excited to do this. Excited to do it on a little weekend edition, but the actual anniversary. I'm going to bust out my ticket. I got my ticket on my bookshelf as a bookmark in my Phantom Menace novel. So I'm going to pull that out and go back 25 years.
Yeah. I believe I have located the shirt I wore to the premiere in 1999, and it mostly still fits. So I might wear my original going to see Phantom Menace shirt for the stream.
That's so cool.
Yeah, Jennifer, we so wish as always that you could join us, but we understand you've got life adventures going on Sunday.
I do. That's right. I'll be pod racing, and hopefully I won't crash.
Excellent. No Tuscans taking pot shots, hopefully.
That's right.
Yeah, but we can't wait to hear everybody's thoughts and memories of the first time you saw Phantom Menace, even if it was, 3 months ago. We love hearing all the different perspectives. We can't wait to celebrate with you all. This is, of course, going to be on old YouTube. We've been really having a lot of fun growing our YouTube channel. Numbers have grown a lot. There was a while back where one of our goals that we were building to was like 7,500. And we started joking because it was so deeply far away. But then when we started doing things more regularly on YouTube, those numbers have grown. So our next absurd faraway number that we want to get to is 9,000 subs by the Acolyte premiere. Can we do it? I don't know. We're at about 8,700-ish right now. So if you are interested in checking out the With Our Faces version of ForceCenter on YouTube, now would be a great time to subscribe or tell your Star Wars pop culture loving friends about it and see if we can get to 9,000 subscriptions by the premiere of Acolyte.
You're so right. I forgot about that. Ha ha ha. What if we were to get 7,000 one day? That'd be cool for this little small YouTube channel. Yeah, you're right. Look at that. I forgot. Close to 9,000. What a thing. Good for you.
Growth.
Good for you for
it's
reminding
possible. It's possible. The fun thing about setting a goal like this is if we make it, that'll be great. Otherwise, we can have fun making jokes about how much we did not get to it. Anyway, that is our goal, to get to 9,000 subscriptions. Those are our asks. Ken, back to you.
Yeah, and one little update there on the Patreon page. We want to make sure you're all aware that our latest episode of 007 Center is available both in the shop, and if you're a Patreon supporter, a paid supporter, you get it automatically. We might re-put a post up there so you can also see it a little easier too. But it is in the shop if you want to hear us talking about Quantum of Solace. We always sometimes joke, but we went longer than the movie itself. It's also one of the shorter films there as well. We are about to dive into the news, but before we do that, as always, we like to catch up our own lives and some Star Wars adventures, life adventures. Jen, we've handled all the housekeeping here. We want to pitch it to you here. What's your wonderful Star Wars adventures of the week?
Very minimal. My daughter one day, my youngest, came to me and said, "I want a lightsaber."
Fair.
Yes, the cherubs sang, the Ewok cherubs. I was so excited, and I realized, we don't really have any lightsabers in our house. We used to have some, but they were the kind that can retract, and my children would end up like hurting each other with it. So I think I don't even know where I put them away. So I spent some time researching the right lightsaber for a 4-year-old.
Ooh.
I was on Reddit. I'm checking what are people saying, and people are talking about like these really expensive lightsabers. Obviously you can really go all out, and I'm like, I'm not going to pay hundreds of dollars for my 4-year-old to break it. That's so I think I found a possibility. It's called the Hasbro's Lightsaber Forge. It looks lightweight. It's cool because you can like actually put it together. So there's kind of like that ritual aspect of it. And then the next thing will be picking which one she wants. I'm going to present her with the choices. We will see which one she is drawn to. I'm excited.
Can do the Kyber ceremony right there in Target. Yeah. Instead of going to Ilum, you can go to Target.
I know. I have to do it on Hasbro's website because Target, I think, only has a red, the Vader one. I'm not sure.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So we're not steering her in that direction. So
no. Yet.
Got to present all the options.
Yes.
You dress up your dog like Huang, and you'll be all right.
My gosh! Can you imagine? Oh, that'd be fun.
Well, that's a good adventure. That's a great adventure. That's what we needed. I don't have any Star Wars adventures other than trying to read a Star Wars book and not getting to it. I went to a fun comedy show Friday night. Our friend Jeff May has his local comedy show in a toy store, Blast from the Past, and I got added last minute. Someone dropped out, and I put on my black denim jacket to head to the show, and I was like, I got all these Phantom Menace pins on. I should probably... No, what am I saying? I should leave those on. This is the perfect show. It had a lot of wonderful conversations started over the Black Series Rebels pins. I have the Taco Bell promotional cup ones, and everyone generally speaking pretty positive. Even though it was a kind of nerd-centric crowd, you still have... the very mention of the word, the title Phantom Menace, it gets a little wonky about what direction they're going to go in the conversation. But I think everyone just focused on, oh my God, I remember those cups. Oh my God, I had those cups. And it was a good, fun walk down promotional memory lane and the movie. It was good.
Oh, that's great. I feel like at least the knowledge that other people do love Phantom Menace has tempered some of the immediate negative reaction. It feels a little bit more like, well, Phantom Menace is politics and religion. Let's be a little gentle. It's people might like it. Yeah, which I enjoy. Yeah. Was Jackie Kashian on that show?
Yeah, we actually chatted. So I've never met Jackie in person, but I've been, she's and I had to follow her. Tough. I had a good set, but she's so funny. I had never met her in person all these years, and so we're getting ready. There's no real green room. We're just tucked around the corner, so you're trying to talk quiet. But I was like, hi, we've never met. I owe a lot to you. And she goes, well, what's that? I go, well, one of my podcast partners, Joseph Scrimshaw, I kind of, his interview with you 10 years ago about the prequels was like kind of what launched us into, having conversations. And now for 10 years, we've been doing a podcast together. She was, oh, great. She's just, I've never, Joseph Scrimshaw, the only person who's ever defended the prequels to me. And I said, we kind of, as you can see on my jacket, we've kind of connected over the prequels. He helped me understand, didn't go too far down that path, but she was great. So it was totally fun to run into.
Oh, that's great. I love her. She is probably my favorite comedian. She's amazing.
I can't even describe how hilarious she was.
Yeah. Absolutely wonderful.
So my adventure, yours?
Yeah, I mean, my life adventure is mostly working on filmmaking stuff, which is both wonderful and stressful. So I've been turning to Star Wars for a little bit of a break. And I have been diving back into the High Republic Phase 2. I finished the book Convergence, and then spent a lot of time on various websites, Reddit included, with people's different opinions of the proper reading order of High Republic Phase 2. But it felt really good. It felt like, if you've ever been like out exercising or whatever, and you're just sort of like filthy and you're just like, I need to get clean.
Yeah.
I felt that way about understanding the reading order of High Republic Phase 2 of like, I'm sick of having this High Republic filth on me that I want to read these books and these comics, and I'm confused about the order they get in. And I showered myself in knowledge, and that was my Star Wars adventure. And it felt very good. And now I know that I'm ready to read the Blade comic book miniseries. Porter Engel. Yeah.
That one I did read. That one.
Yeah.
That was good. All right, cool. God, that's great. Wait, you both spent time in Reddit this weekend. That's
I spend so much time. It's now my go-to place, better than Yelp, you get real answers, sometimes a little too real.
Yeah, no, I mean, there'll be strong opinions, but it is one of the places on the internet where it is a real human answering other real humans. Yeah.
Can respect that.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
Oh, well, good. Any other adventures? I think I cut you off a little bit there.
No, just any shout out to any ForceCenter listeners who overlap into the Doctor Who fandom. This was also a great big weekend for the full return of the new series of Doctor Who. The 15th Doctor had a Christmas special, but this was the beginning of his new season. And Doctor Who on Disney Plus, like the mind blowingness of I have one service that has Star Wars and Doctor Who and Marvel and the Muppets is it's hard to wrap my head around.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you sometimes. It's all there, at the touch of a button, which is a fun discussion soon to be had here on the ForceCenter Network. All right. Well, we're caught up. That's it. Bye, folks. We're going to get into this. All right. We got some news, Joseph. Breaking news from a long time ago. What do you got?
That's right. This one broke a little bit earlier last week, but we had too many things to talk about in the news, so we are diving into... Well, no, we were talking about Tales of the Empire. Anyway, a new Lego special is coming with Darth Jar Jar. How much Darth Jar Jar? I don't know. He's just in the trailer, but he's the selling point of this trailer, I think, for a lot of people. Anyway, so a trailer has been released for a new 4-part special called Lego Star Wars: Rebuild the Galaxy. The first part debuts September 13th. It is a celebration of the 25th anniversary of the Lego Lucasfilm partnership. The 4-part special tells the story of Sig Greebling, a plucky kid who accidentally unleashes a force artifact that reorders the basic building bricks of the galaxy, spinning everything into a what-if-like chaos. The trailer features Rebel AT-ATs or AT-ATs, Ewok bounty hunters, and for the big pop at the end of the trailer, Darth Jar Jar. So, Jennifer, I wanted to start with you. How are you feeling about the whole Lego Star Wars partnership in general, both the toys and all the storytelling, and this move to commemorate 25 years of that partnership?
I can't believe it's been 25 years. It's incredible. And it's hard for me to imagine Star Wars without Lego Star Wars. At this point, they seem so intertwined. And I really rely on the Star Wars Lego shorts, specials, whatever, because they have fun. It's the time when canon kind of goes out the window, and it's literally just about play. It's about taking the bricks and the characters, and in this special particularly, just going wild. And like how any kid might imagine, oh sure, let's make Darth Jar Jar. Why not? I give him a red lightsaber, right? And it also is fun because it feels like the creators listen to the fans, and not that they're necessarily like giving us what we want. I think they want it too. They're having a blast. They're Star Wars fans, and it's really great. It captures the spirit of play.
Yeah, I really agree with you. Were you ever a Lego collector? Was ever a phase of your fandom?
Oh, my fandom. I mean, I've always kind of had sets around, and then surprisingly, after I had children, I could not have like my big sets, my walkers, because they literally got destroyed or dismantled. So I've had to put them away. But my kids still play with them. They play with the different bricks and the minifigures and stuff. And I love the keychains or making jewelry out of them and using them in different ways.
Yeah, well, man, maybe it is children that inspired this whole rebuild the galaxy of the walkers have been dismantled by the children. Can they be rebuilt? Will they be different?
Exactly. Yes, yes, exactly.
That's great. Ken, I know you have a long relationship
Yeah.
with Lego Star Wars. How are you feeling about this 25th anniversary, both the toys and the show?
That is talk about dates. Yeah, that's a weird one there. I still have my Naboo fighter that I picked up 25 years ago with just
Mm.
like, wow, Star Wars and Lego together. It's amazing. Yeah, I love it. I love the joy that's present in there, Jen. It does. I don't ever get too stuffy over having fun with Star Wars, but sometimes those weird little walls go up, or I don't know, but Lego Star Wars kind of helps pull those walls down if they're there at all. So this is a lot of fun. Can't wait to take it in, and I think I've put a little less emphasis on how important they are to what we've done a theme breakdown of all those kind of things. Now it's like, hey, cool, fun, silliness. Let's get to it, and a Star Wars in a new form. As far as the toys, I still can't turn away from them. I've even, as I've said here before, sold a few of them over the last couple months. Some of the bigger sets I had in box. Don't have any more room. Don't have any more need to have them. And even just last night, I turned left into the Lego aisle at Target to be like, oh well, they do have that. Oh no, so it's got a hold on me.
Yeah, no, I understand. I have stopped myself from ever getting into the collecting of them because of the space issues and with the action figures. But, often here in California, there will be literally nothing on the shelves for action figures at Target. And sometimes I just go to the Lego aisle to console myself and
Yeah.
and look at I'd like that burning Darth Vader lava set. Boy, would I. Isn't it nice to see? It's nice to know it's out there, but I don't pick them up myself. For this partnership, and especially in the Disney era with all the various shows, everything from the Freemaker Adventures to the holiday specials that they've been doing the last couple of years, I just kind of think it's an important part of Star Wars that Lucas, has always had a sense of it's okay to poke fun at it. The stuff that's serious about it we'll take real serious, but Hardware Wars is great. I mean, in the day and age we're in, with the way that IP kind of works, it's really shocking to me that Lucas realized in early to mid 2000s people are making fan films, so we'll make it official, we'll sponsor it, make fun of it, poke fun of it, have fun of it. Silliness is a part of Star Wars. So I love that these Lego specials have managed to really embrace, like you were saying, Jennifer, play, silliness, jokes. But then also they always do hold up the actual core values. And that's what's exciting to me about a special like this, that it's tapping into the absolute silly fun of what if. Let's take every silly light character and make them evil or scary with Ewok bounty hunters and Darth Jar Jar. But I have no doubt that if this is a young kid's journey who messed everything up and is going to be questioning how could rebels, freedom fighters, become horrible people, that I wouldn't be surprised if the show really is about that core Star Wars idea that choices define us, and anybody could make a bad choice and become a bad person, and anybody can make a good choice and become a good person. So I really love that they're silly. They can poke fun at, even fan theories or fan hangups, but they always come back around to supporting the core ideas of Star Wars, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. In this, I really like, I know a lot of people want just a straight up kind of serious animated Clone Wars style animated what if show. But I like the Lego being a place for what if. And this concept seems to be entirely about what ifs. Ken, how do you feel about Lego being a place for what ifs?
This is the place for me, because even when you said that, I started to get my hackles up. Not against you, of course. Of just like, oh, if they did a what if show like that Marvel one, oh God, I'd be in Reddit yelling at me. And that's not right at me. That's not the right approach. But I get the defensive walls up, but the Lego thing just kind of makes it again fun. And this Darth Jar Jar thing is hilarious to me. The fact that Ahmed Best is back for it, yes, absolutely, this is what we should do. This is the place for it. So I do like it as a concept. I do like, we keep saying fun, but I think that's the important thing there. And again, this is a me problem, when just even having what if conversations sometimes get me grumpy. That's a me problem, not a Star Wars problem, not a fandom problem. And this is a great way for me. This is a spoonful of sugar to make the medicine go down.
Yeah, no, I agree. What ifs can be really, really fun. And I think this is a great venue for them. Coming up on our Q's episode this week, we have a great what if question I can't wait to dive into. So I like having a little bit of a place for them, but the Lego feels good for me. How about you, Jennifer? Do you like the what if setting within Lego? Or do you hunger for a more serious what if show?
No, absolutely not. For me, I'm always pushing for go weirder, go wilder, take us back to the days of, the variety show. So I'm like, go wild. But what I like about the Lego Star Wars is that it's contained. There's the expectations are there so that when people sit down, they're not going to be expecting something super, super serious, right? I think with the animated shows, it can go either way. And then that's where people get upset is like you're expecting one thing and then it's like yuck and Palpatine slips on a banana, right? And people get angry. So I think Lego Star Wars, it just is like, okay, this is just about play, it's having fun. And I loved that. What was the Halloween special that they had? Do you remember that?
That one was
great. And it brought in so many like pop culture references, movie references from the 80s. It's just really, I think that it's so well done.
Yeah, great spooky stuff. Yeah, you're right. If there was like a really serious, like, I mean, I love Tales of the Empire, and I think it had this great, somber tone, even though everything with Varys ended up being very hopeful. But that if there was a sort of what if presented that way, and it was, what if Senator Palpatine slipped on a Jogan fruit, and he fell down the stairs on Naboo, and the galaxy was freed. What if? Like, yes, people would not process that well in this serious way. So I think it's a great place to explore what ifs. And like I said, I do think they take the ideas and the themes seriously while keeping the surface fun and silly. So speaking of a mix of deadly serious and fun and silly, let's talk Darth Jar Jar. People were very excited, it seemed like, on the old internet about Darth Jar Jar showing up in an official product here of Lucasfilm. So Darth Jar Jar is a theory that's both fun and playful at times. That Jar Jar's bumbling around in the Phantom Menace is actually him very carefully pulling strings with his bumbling to take control of the galaxy and eventually hand power to Palpatine, as he does in Attack of the Clones with the call for the emergency power vote. So I think it can be a fun and playful theory, but I think sometimes it is coming from a true desire of fans who aren't thrilled with Jar Jar being kind and clumsy and would like a dark and gritty truth behind the pratfalls. So, Jennifer, how do you feel about Darth Jar Jar, the general theory, and are you excited to see him in action?
I am excited to see him. And I'm excited for Ahmed Best that he got to show a different side to Jar Jar, one that the fans have been kind of like asking for in a joking way. And I think he even responded, and I don't know if this was before he recorded his voice performance, but he was like, yeah, give us where is Darth Jar Jar? So I think it's the perfect place to give the fans what they want. And I always go to the comments on these types of things. And the comments in the trailer were just ecstatic. People were like, the memes are coming to life. We have power. Like, I love it. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's hilarious. What other memes will come to life? I'm thinking of some ones that might not be safe for Lego. Anyway, Ken, how do you feel about the Darth Jar Jar phenomenon in general and coming to realization now?
I both enjoy it and have a lot of fun with it, and also like you kind of put in the question there, have I don't want to say issues, but like, hey, you go too far down that theory path with Darth Jar Jar. You're moving away from the purpose of Jar Jar and the theme and what he brings to the story. And then I'm the guy who's too serious at the party, right? Then I'm the guy that's like, so I've always enjoyed it. And the fun thing about it, and I think this can be the draw and danger of theories, is you start looking, you start connecting some dots, and it does, kind of make sense to you. This happens a lot. I can't go too far into it, but I currently have a job where I'm writing theory debunk stuff for a YouTube channel. And when you dig into it, you find that, oh my God, that does make sense. It does make sense. Oh, here's the core of the theory. and it's pretty bad. It's usually done to hurt an othered group or something like that. It's at the core. So to me, Jar Jar, don't hurt Jar Jar. Go too deep into the theory is what I believe. We're believing it, but it's fun, and I enjoy it. And I'm with you, Jen. Having Ahmed Best back again. You know, I know he returned for the Clone Wars, but this is a different era, and having him have fun in a responsibility-free environment from canon and all those other things, just run around with a red blade. That's pretty cool to me. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, no, I think I'm really excited to see Darth Jar Jar because I feel like we are in a different era with Jar Jar and with Ahmed Best. Him, being in The Mandalorian, being a part of Star Wars in the fun Jedi challenge game show, him talking so much more publicly about all the ups and downs, and being able to see him be honored. Huge applause at Celebration, huge applause in the theater when we saw The Phantom Menace. So it feels, if Darth Jar Jar had popped up like right away at the beginning of sort of the Disney era in 2014, 2015, it still would have felt a little like corrective of, we're not comfortable with Jar Jar being kind and clumsy. We're only comfortable with Jar Jar if he's dark and gritty and ironic, But now that Ahmed Best has been celebrated, now it's like, gloves off, let's have fun. Why not? That's great. Yeah. And for the Darth Jar Jar theory in general, like it's been one of those things where I've had two different kind of in-person conversations with fans where you're talking about it and it's funny because it is the contrast of the kindest, silliest, clumsiest character with the most manipulative, powerful character, and that contrast is just funny. And then it is funny that his actions do line up with, ooh, what was he up to? It's all funny. And I've had conversations where it's just fun and you just laugh about it. And then I've had those conversations where I'm kind of laughing and then I see it in the other person's eyes and realize, oh no, you're dead serious. And then the conversation suddenly turns to from joking to, it's the only way the Phantom Menace makes sense. It's the only way it works. It has to be true. And like, oh, this went from fun to concerning to me. And I feel like we have moved on from that conversation a little bit. So I love that. I feel like we're in an era where we can just enjoy the fun and the comedy of Darth Jar Jar.
Yeah, because that's you're making me think of just decades of having those fun conversations of why this and what happened there, and that got gamified. It got competitive. I blame YouTube for that directly. Hi, we're here on YouTube. Happy to be here. But being part of this space since 2012 for me, you just kind of saw that the fun stuff became fact and a point to win an argument, and I think that's part of what you're describing there.
Yeah, and I hope Darth Jar Jar is silly and fun. I hope he trips and lightning comes out of his body accidentally. That'd be great. I'd love it. Let's combine the dark and the clumsy. Ken, do you expect to see a lot of Darth Jar Jar, or is this just like he's got a 30-second scene?
Give me him as the main villain the entire time. This pitch is really fun, and you got Bobby Moynihan at the center of it. He brings joy all the time. Like, make him the big bad.
Yeah.
He kills Vader, Palpatine, whatever. Not kills Lego, maybe removes bricks from. That'd be great.
Disassembles. He disassembles the rest of the Sith. Jennifer, what amount of Darth Jar Jar will satisfy your hunger?
He's got to be the main antagonist. I mean, if you're going to introduce Darth Jar Jar, the fans want to see Darth Jar Jar. Give us Darth Jar Jar. So I think just even the line, what does he say? Misa gonna hurt Yusa or something? Oh my gosh. I can only imagine the fun that they had creating this special. So yeah, give us a lot of, I think he is going to be the main villain. I'm going to say that. Main villain. Yeah.
No, this just occurred to me as we're talking. Darth Jar Jar is fun to say and all that, but usually the Sith take on a different Darth name, their true Darth name. So if he actually corrects, I'm not Darth Jar Jar, I'm Darth Blank.
Ooh, yeah.
That'd be fun.
I'm thinking Darth Hayflipper after the thing he broke of Boss Nass's.
That's amazing.
Ken, do you have Darth name thoughts for Darth Jar Jar?
I don't know, like Darth Goofus or something like that. I think that could work. I want to see that on a 6-inch Black Series form.
I am Darth Goofus. Do you have any Sith name thoughts for Jar Jar?
No, Darth Poodoo, Darth...
Darth Poodoo?
it's so absurd. I hope that they do go absurd. Oh my goodness. It already is absurd.
I am Darth Bonka Bonk. What? All right. I love this. I love this.
Bonka bonk.
I can't wait. Anyway, a final thought here. A question on the Lego Star Wars, this new adventure coming. So it's clearly a part of the game of it is going to have fun with the what ifs, and we're only being shown a tiny amount with the Ewok bounty hunter and Darth Jar Jar and all that. What other what ifs would be fun to you in the context of this Lego show? Jennifer, you have any what if desires?
I sat and thought about this for a very long time. And I'm like, I don't know how you top Ewok bounty hunters and Darth Jar Jar. Where do you go from there? Like anything else seems like kind of just logical. Like they've already gone so absurd. I don't even know. I think the only thing would be like dancing stormtroopers. I always love that meme, or like dancing Han Solo. Song and dance is where I'm going with this.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Donnie and Marie are actually real characters in the galaxy.
Oh my god!
They should just watch your Jedi beat on the weird side of Star Wars and just pluck all that.
Yeah,
the Ewok like breakdancing. Yeah, I mean not Ewok. Yoda. It was Yoda. That's right. Yoda's breakdancing. Yeah.
Oh, or that would be fabulous.
The Ewok that was dancing on like the ABC morning news show right years ago, right?
Yeah,
that one was great too.
So many great dances. Ken, how about you?
Same thought, Jen, of like, I mean, Darth Jar Jar is kind of the top of the food chain there on theories and memes and what ifs. But the idea that we always have, it's put forth, there's been that beautiful haunting one of the comic of Indiana Jones finds the, remains of Han Solo and the crash Falcon, and Bigfoot is actually Chewie. That one. What if we play around with that and show the true connection that Indiana Jones is in this world? But what if we even show proof that E.T. is in this world, that he and Yoda were maybe high school chums? That's why they recognize each other in E.T. While they're out trick-or-treating there on Halloween. So let's bring E.T. officially into Star Wars via Lego.
Yeah, I mean, the ET species in the Phantom Menace in one of the Senate pods. So yeah, let's get the actual character ET up in here. Yeah. I think because Ewoks and Jar Jar represent sort of the lightest and kindest of the characters. I know they're murder bears, but being brought to darkness, I hope there are a lot of Andor characters just doing silly stuff. I hope that there's lots of Luthen switching out his Lego wig and having having sales in his shop. Well, the sign falls and you see all of his rebel propaganda, and then his wig pops up.
You're right. A great scene.
Yep.
That's amazing.
I want Emperor Mothma would be fun.
Oh yeah.
With her crappy husband Perrin as her Masamita servant.
Oh my gosh.
I can dig that.
That's good.
Yeah.
I love that.
Taking the deadly serious of Andor and having a little fun with it. And then I want to see Rancor riding Boba Fett. That's all the more ideas I got.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Flip it around. Why not? All right. Any other thoughts on this Lego special, Ken?
I can't wait for it. I'm really excited to see how much, and I'm excited because of the Darth Jar Jar. I love everything else about them. Loved all the specials in the past, so I'd be watching regardless. But I have a Palpatine eye on you, looking at that Lego thing. Darth Jar Jar.
We'll watch Darth Jar Jar with great interest. Any final thoughts from you, Jennifer?
I was looking at the date of when it's released. September 13th is too long to wait. I want to capitalize on the momentum that for my kids, since they just saw Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So that's all right. We'll have to think of another plan until then.
All right. Well, watch for our 2 to 3 hour breakdown of the Darth Jar Jar episode of Rebuild the Galaxy coming to you in September. For now, we're going to take a quick break and talk more news. Then back in a moment. And we are back on breaking news from a long time ago. There's a lot of different kinds of news this week, which made it really fun to look for stories and to discuss. This one is an interesting one. We're going to call Lucas Loves Kenobi. Aww. So
sitcom.
A longtime Lucasfilm employee, Pablo Hidalgo, appeared on a benefit Star Wars podcast and spoke about George Lucas's reaction to the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. I will be totally honest. I did not get a chance to watch any of this, so I'm just responding to this one quote in the print version. But here is the quote from Pablo Hidalgo. He said, early on, there was a conversation I had with George about what his thoughts were and whether or not he bought the whole concept of taking Obi-Wan and Vader again. And he was 100% supportive. And I've heard tell that it's been one of his favorite things to come out of Star Wars because he recognizes so much of what he did in the prequels basically brought forward and celebrated in a way that I'm sure surprised him. So, all the caveats in the world, this is secondhand information. And how do you feel about it? Does it track for you that George Lucas would specifically enjoy the Obi-Wan Kenobi television show program?
I'll start at that second half by simply saying yes, and maybe come back to it. But you ask me how I feel. I got to be 100% honest. I love this, and I want to be clear that I don't live in a world where I need George or anyone involved in Star Wars to love everything about Star Wars, to love every little story. That's not how it works. Even Pablo, who has had his relationship with the internet go varying directions, has been open about he loves this one. No, this one I rank lower. This I don't really get lost in that. You want everyone to love it. You want everyone to feel happy to be a part of it. But with George himself, we know all three of us know people that know George, are related to George, have worked with George, and various things have come back of yes, no, nothing that I'd put into print because it's just not even secondhand information. It's fourth-hand information. He's a human, and he's going to have likes and interests. All that to say, I've not put a lot of energy into this until I read this, until this popped up this week, and I think it was part of Podathon, and Full of Sith had this interview. I too didn't hear the full interview, but it just, I don't know, it meant something to me. And I got to own that it means a little bit of a ha-ha. And I don't want to always have that attitude, but I told you, that series has got some good things. It's got merit. And a lot of the big, I even ran into this. I know, Joseph, you told the stories of getting a haircut, and your hairstylist is like, well, my fiance doesn't love Boba Fett or Kenobi. Yeah. I had this conversation with a very nice acquaintance who were just like, look, I loved everything until I was on board with all the Disney stuff until that Kenobi series. Obi-Wan Kenobi never left Tatooine. He never faced Vader. We know that. And I was just like, we didn't know that, but I don't want to have this discussion with you. So in that light, in that spirit, I got to say, yeah, there was a smile. I'm trying to not make it smug. I'm just trying to smile and bring joy. I have to own that. I was really happy to hear this and hear this possibility of it being true.
Yeah, no, I love what you're saying, and I think we can pull apart even more the sort of the different relationships we as fans have with wanting George's opinions, the good and the bad of that. But I am very largely with you on this. Jennifer, what was your reaction to this second to third hand information?
I envisioned George being like, I like it, like that, and then everyone's like, he loves it. He's supportive of it. That's what I see.
You're probably so right. George's approval is like, not
bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right track.
Yeah.
So that being said, I do think it is interesting because I also read, where was it? Was it in that article where he did not like The Force Awakens? And he felt like it was like nothing new. And so it's interesting to me then that he loved Kenobi. That's definitely not new. However, the way that they approached the show, I mean, it was some of the best acting performances and best story that I have seen. Ewan and Hayden were incredible reprising their roles, which is really tough to do. And I think that maybe, if I'm just going to speculate, that George Lucas felt redeemed because he was so vilified for so long. And I think that he really loves the character of Kenobi. And so there is something kind of gratifying to see this character that you loved and seeing the potential kind of being realized in this series. So, I mean, Ewan McGregor was fantastic. And I still believe it should have been a movie to give it that the cinematic, moment that it deserved. But Yeah, I can see that George would like that. That makes sense.
Yeah, in terms of like, yeah, a real life what if, boy, would I love to sit in a theater and see what the movie version of that same story with Leia, with
Oh my
Obi-Wan
God.
confronting his feelings of regret at killing Anakin and Reva and everything in that show that I love compressed into 2.5 hour real big epic. I'm with you. I really want to. I love the show, but I understand that what if
Yeah.
feeling with the movie. But Obi-Wan is one of my very favorite things that has been made in this era, and yeah, this did make me happy, whether it's true or not, and whether it is, yeah, somebody called him up, I was like, you like this one? And that, if that is his whole response, it does track for me, because I think he does love these characters in particular. I remember reading in Chris Taylor's book, and I think other sources, how Star Wars Conquered the Universe is the name of that book. How, when Filoni was first brought on for the Clone Wars animated series, he developed this whole other set of characters, some I think which evolved a bit into Rebels, and the quote being from George, like, no, I like my characters. This is going to be about Obi-Wan and Anakin, and Anakin's got a Padawan. I like that drawing,
Yeah.
So I think Lucas has had a long affinity for these characters. There's also, to me, about that sort of balance of the old and new. I think in the Clone Wars animated series, it seemed like Lucas had such fondness for these characters and wanted to combine the old and new by using these legacy characters. But the new being, I want to dive a little bit deeper into these characters and into these corners that, you can hear him lamenting on all the behind the scenes stuff from the prequels that he didn't have time to, because this is a big epic trilogy and he needed to move forward. Kenobi has always been an important character. He's a main character of the prequels, but we don't generally get to slow down and have him go through a character arc. That is what's new about Kenobi, is to slow down, have a pensive but still exciting indie drama about the broken soul of this man, one of the original characters going back to 1977. I think that's new, and I think it's the kind of thing that Lucas has always been interested in when he gets to play more with his characters, like he did in the Clone Wars. But how can we dive deeper? How can we take the time to go more under the hood of these characters? So in a way, it seems like an extension of the kind of storytelling he was doing in the Clone Wars. Yeah.
I was going to say, and Pablo says these are conversations early on in the process of whatever the quote is. I can pull it up here again for myself. But to your point, Jen, it might be around the time when they thought this was a movie. It might be, early on. It might not necessarily be the series we're talking about here, but the ideas, the concept. And that just made me think this is, in a way, George's own what if. That, at one point he would have been like, what would have been great? Kenobi and Vader had a confrontation 10 years ago. Like, I think let's explore that. You're right, Joseph. This kind of is in his own kind of wheelhouse, I guess, of what he likes to do and what he has done, what the prequels were, what like you said, the Clone Wars were. So I imagine that might be part of the appeal.
Yeah, I think for me, there's I don't know, a just sort of a so it goes sort of attitude with some of the conflict about Kenobi. I know, many people have different, very strong opinions, but I've personally talked to many people our age, original trilogy people who are, like you, Ken said, very adamant about Kenobi stayed on Tatooine the whole time. He did not face Darth Vader again. Kenobi certainly never met Leia. And there's something so familiar about those conversations, because those were some of the ones that were had with the prequels of Darth Vader did not make C-3PO, right?
Right.
Leia was 3 when her mom died, because she says that in Return of the Jedi. Like this, and Filoni himself tells the fun story of Lucas saying, "Hey, Anakin had a Padawan," and Filoni going, "No, he didn't," and Lucas going, "Yeah, he did." Lucas has never ever been overly obsessive with his own canon in that way. So there's also something about a little bit of the kind of rebel in flannel attitude about the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, of just because you in the audience assumed that Kenobi never left Tatooine, that doesn't mean he didn't. And if I want to tell a story and it causes some ripples, I don't care. I'll tell a story. That's very George Lucas style storytelling. So there's something about it that for me is a little of the old rebel in flannel vibe. Be like, yeah, Kenobi met Leia. Why not? Let's have fun. Let's do it. Let's go.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Jennifer, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, he's going to do it his way, like Frank Sinatra. And that's what I love about George Lucas is that when he gets an idea, it's like, yeah, of course, this just makes sense. We'll make it work. Or just like, it's your, this is all pretend. Let's remember that, right? This is not like historical events. And sometimes things can change. And why not? And Darth Maul can come back. So I love that. I love that about Star Wars is they always go with what's going to be the best story. That's what I enjoy.
Yeah, no, I really agree. And I agree with you, Ken, that because I like the Kenobi show, I have a couple of quibbles here and there, but in general, I really enjoy it. I love Ewan McGregor. I love the story that's being told. I love Reva and think she's incredibly vital to the theme and the plot. All this stuff, some of the best Vader getting under the mask and making him feel very human while being Vader. Just phenomenal stuff. So I like Kenobi a lot. So I will totally admit to some. I want this to be true. I want Lucas to have been even more, enthusiastic. Like, yeah, sure, they can meet, have them fight. Yeah, Kenobi met Leia, and I like this. Thumbs up. I admit to feeling some joy for that, but I am also sort of fascinated and sometimes troubled by the amount that fans have a strong desire to get Lucas's opinion on Star Wars. So Jennifer, I want to ask how you feel about that. How do you feel about fans' strong desire to get Lucas's opinion on new Star Wars? And on social media, you'll see, a lot of people kind of holding up this quote or that quote for sort of validation of their opinion of something. People who don't like the sequels. That quote is from the Bob Iger book. Lucas has other quotes out there, some pretty harsh ones that he has even apologized for. He's also explained, hey, it was my baby, and then I just realized I'd rather be all the way out of it than compromise on stuff. So you hear people who don't like the sequels really holding George up as like, see, it's all awful, and the creator thinks so. How do you feel about all that? The weird desire for Lucas's validation.
I would say, where were you? Where were you? Because these are oftentimes the people that were criticizing George and saying, what are you doing with the Clone Wars? And why you made these terrible prequels and go back to what you did before. And then they're like, oh, and now it's Disney. And now all of a sudden George is become this god. And oftentimes these people hated what he did. So I get a little frustrated by that because it's like, look, he will always be for me he will always be so much of Star Wars, and my love of Star Wars is connected to George Lucas, the creator, but he doesn't have to bless everything that comes out of it. He is the Jedi Master, and now he has mentored, and he still helps people. I'm sure he has conversations with people when they want to ring him up and whatever. He still is imparting his wisdom. So it's very complicated. I don't know.
Yeah, no, and I mean, and that part of this isn't news. I mean, I've been talking to Lucas on almost every project, but certainly there's been discussions with Deborah Chow of having talked about it, and like, he doesn't have an official role. He can't, cross. He can't say no to that. But people still go to him for his wisdom and his opinion. Yeah, I think it's understandable. And like I said, I don't want to be a hypocrite. I hope you love Kenobi. It makes me happy. Yay! But also, I just feel like he is a human and a complicated one. And I love everything that he created. But it isn't defining for me whether he liked it or not. I understand him looking at they didn't design new ships in The Force Awakens and it's X-Wings and TIE fighters. But I disagree with him. I think there's a lot new in The Force Awakens. I get the criticism, but there's a lot new in The Force Awakens that I absolutely love. So I don't want to be dependent on it. And I think some of the holding him up to validate one's own opinion about Star Wars is in bad faith or contradictory. Like I've certainly seen social media posts of like, oh, they've Disneyfied Star Wars. They've made it all cute and silly. Let's bring back George Lucas's Star Wars. Like what? The person who created the Ewoks and Jar Jar. Yes, let's bring him back to make Star Wars real gritty the way we all like it. Like it just doesn't even make sense to me. Ken, how do you feel about this complicated dance?
It's complicated because you like stuff. I was thinking of how much I love that Harrison Ford jumped into an Alden Ehrenreich interview and was like, "This kid is an actor," and I've saw Solo twice, and I loved it because I love Solo. So I got Han Solos are on my side, right? Like it's a good thing. But it's a double-edged sword, and especially when it comes to George, he is an artist first, and we all have artists we enjoy who make those big decisions, and maybe you don't follow them. You know, if you're a David Bowie fan, he's this way, he's that way. I want to do an electronic album. I want to do this. And you're like, well, where's Heroes? I want to do Heroes, you know, and you follow the artist sometimes. And George is that for me. I don't, think every decision he's made has been grand and great, but he is a genius artist, and I'm going to follow him on that path, and I'm going to hear him out. But you do want that validation, and telling these stories carefully. I've had two instances in my life where I had talked to someone close to him, and they did express some of George's thoughts on Force Awakens, and it really bummed me out. And I wanted to call up Joseph Scrimshaw and go debate George Lucas on the new things in Force Awakens. And then there was, years ago, worked at Collider, got laid off, and then Collider put these deep fake videos out with George, which had some talented people behind him, including my buddy Mark Ellis hosted one of them. I didn't love the videos. I felt kind of upset. A lot of people blamed him for the end of Collider video. That was not the case, but there was a lot of things going on. And I was at a party. Someone was we were introduced, and they were like, "Oh, Collider! Oh my God, the deepfake videos!" And I started to apologize to them, and they were like, "No, George loved them. Oh my God, Jet showed him. He thought they were great." And I remember, and it's that you're like, you're looking for like validation to have like George hated, and then you're like, so you don't know what to do with that information, right? You gotta let go of that and love what you love, and follow that path. And like you said, like we've all said, George is human, man. He would have done a completely different episode 7, of course. That's the whole point, because he is George, and JJ is JJ, and Lucasfilm is Lucasfilm, and Disney's a corporation. I get it all. I get the arguments, but I learned that lesson too of just I can't hold on to one person's opinion, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't help. So, but that said, I'm going to end where I started. Oh, I like this a lot. I had a big smile on my face.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I value most about Lucas in over all of his creation, there's some things that I'm like, I've come around to that. And there's some things I think like, oh yeah, that maybe that little part of it maybe didn't work for me. But what I love about everything that Lucas has created is that there is a sense of humanity, and that there's a sense of like, this might not work for everybody, but this is what I feel, and I'm putting it in Star Wars because it's what I feel. So I feel like it's so imprinted with the humanity, not just of his big noble ideas, but his personal tastes, and even the things that make us humans, the quirks that not everybody's going to agree on, maybe even the flaws that not everybody's going to agree on, and it's what makes Star Wars feel so very human. And I think I want Star Wars to feel human, which means even if I don't agree with, every little quirk of humanity that Tony Gilroy imprints on Andor, I want to feel that. I want to feel that imprint of humanness. So I think that's maybe why I'm both fascinated with George's opinion, and at the same time, like the most important thing is that other people do what George did, which is just imprint their humanity on it. So, hey, if George doesn't like it, so be it, because it's somebody else's sort of humanity imprinted on it. We're not trying, in my opinion, to make this sort of platonic ideal of Star Wars. We're trying to tell human stories that respect the overall story while also having individuality to them.
Yeah. Well said.
Jennifer, any other thoughts on George's opinions?
No. Although I will say that I do like that he liked The Last Jedi. That makes me feel vindicated. And like one of the reasons that he stopped making movies and why his daughter got off of the internet was because people were just like constantly criticizing him. So let's remember that, people. Anyways, I'm excited to see his museum because I think that he's really enjoying that process.
Yeah.
What
No.
if you turn the corner at a museum? There's an entire wing that just says Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus 2020. It's just, and George is like, "This is my favorite show."
I'd be over the moon with that.
Wow.
Yeah. Ken, if you could ask George Lucas his opinion about one thing, Star Wars or not, doesn't have to be Star Wars. What would you ask him his opinion on?
Yeah, you know where I'm going. I'm gonna be like, "What's the best mall food court store? Is it Plumtree? Is it Sbarro? Hot dog on a stick? Panda Express? Where you going, George? I want to go."
Love it. I think I would ask him what the best brand of flannel shirt is. Like, which ones are bottom tier and which ones are just beautiful skin caressing flannel. I think that would be.
I want George to say the word skin caressing.
What flannel caresses your skin? The conversation I think would be over there. If I was going to ask him a Star Wars thing, I would just ask him. I guess this is an opinion, but like, what was the personal highlight for him? Because people always ask him about what he didn't like, or he's on record about the challenges and the ups and downs and the critics and all that. But I would love to know, like, what were those small moments of, like he's watching, a take and like, damn, that's great, that's gold, or a premiere where he walked out feeling, like he's walking on clouds. I would love to know those moments. Jennifer, what would you ask George Lucas's opinion about?
I would want to ask him about, like, where does he see the direction of movie making headed? Where with the state of the industry, where does he see kind of like where we're going to end up, and seeing how technology has advanced? Would he still have sold Lucasfilm, or would he be willing to have, continued making stories? That would have been interesting.
This is why Jennifer's the reporter around here. Shut up, Pete. That's a great question. That's a great question.
All right, we are going to move on from old George and all the questions we can ask him. Look for our new Star Wars ranked episode. Best things to ask George Lucas in a food mall, food court. Our final story for the day is about Sigourney Weaver. She is in talks to join The Mandalorian and Grogu film, according to The Hollywood Reporter. Legendary actor Sigourney Weaver in talks. Let's repeat that in all caps. Only in talks to join the cast of The Mandalorian in Grogu. Jennifer, if she did join the cast, what do you think it brings to the Mandalorian Grogu film? Weight, gravitas, star power?
I think that the meeting probably happened because she was there for Avatar, and they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, would you be interested in being in this new Mandalorian Grogu movie?" And she's like, "Yeah." But I could see her. It's hard because I think that there's going to be a lot of big names. But then that also is like, well, what Star Wars characters are already going to be coming? So how big of a role could she possibly have? I don't know. Maybe it could be substantial. I mean, I think I'll speculate on what she would be in a little bit later on.
Yeah. So, Ken, what do you think is the weight of her being added? Do you think she adds some of the star power that the film could use?
Absolutely. She's one of our greats. She's loved by so many folks in different genres. Are you an Alien fan, a Ghostbusters fan, Avatar fan? There's a lot of people she brings into it, and I love this name. I love this kind of involvement, and it's exciting. The possibilities could be endless. We have some thoughts we're going to share, but I think just that name, it changes. Well, it doesn't change my opinion on the movie. I'm there. I'm excited, ready to watch. But yeah, on the outside, it makes it feel like, oh, okay, they're gearing up. It's not just another season TV show, and they've had some great actors in it already. Let's be clear, but like they're leveling up in a way that might be perception outside of the Star Wars bubble.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think she so fits with the kind of casting, and if the Mandalorian season 4 if that's what we were talking about, and she was being announced for a guest role, it'd be like, man, that fits. We've had big names like Christopher Lloyd. She fits with the casting of sort of legends who have been there, done that, and carry some personal gravitas with them. Carl Weathers, Werner Herzog, endless list. But I think she's an interesting figure in that she is kind of a matriarch of genre. She is a person who is in many ways largely defined by genre, but is also just considered a phenomenal actor, performer. But with Aliens, science fiction, and Ghostbusters is horror and comedy. And Avatar is fascinating. Avatar is one of those things that if you ever need a reminder that the internet is not reality, that there are those of us who are very, very online, but we do not necessarily reflect all of humanity. If you just scrolled through social media, you would largely think that the world does not like Avatar, and yet put up big numbers. Even that sequel, where if you looked on social media, almost everybody in this for that sequel was saying like, who needs this? Who wants this? We're like, well, millions of dollars worth of people apparently. Yeah. So who knows how much the there's probably a kid making a TikTok right now. It's like, did you know the lady from Avatar was also an alien?
right.
Yeah, I think for me, what I'm thinking about in terms of the film and sort of in terms of star power is they really need this film to go gangbusters, right? And the star power isn't just on the screen. The star power is in the articles and on the press junket. So if they cast 3 or 4 Sigourney Weaver level legends, that I think is just increases not only just the star power on the screen, but star power in the press junket of people who can really talk about it. But that a lot of that is dependent on, if you get Sigourney Weaver out there doing Good Morning America 5 times and lead up to the film, and then she's got a 5-minute role, that could be a concern, as Jennifer was alluding to. So let's get into that. What kind of role we would like to see Sigourney Weaver play? Jennifer, what are your role thoughts?
I think boring would be Senator or someone in the New Republic. I find that to be really, please don't have her be something boring. I want her to go back to her action role roots. I want her to be someone in the underworld or a bounty hunter. I don't know. Just give her some action to do. I think that would be really exciting. It'd be exciting to see a mature older woman in that type of role. I think that there's going to be a younger audience that really doesn't even know who she is, right? And so her kind of being a boring senator, like, okay. But you put her in this like badass role and suddenly like everyone wants to go see her. So I don't know. That's my call. So she's like a criminal lord. What is it? Crime lord? Yeah, crime lord. That's it. A crime lord.
A lord of crime. She's a lord of criminal activities.
The criminality, lord, lady. Okay, sorry.
She's a mean queen, right? That's what they call that.
Mean queen.
Yeah. I love what you're saying. Because she does have this sort of the gravitas to play a senator. But you're right. There's something about like, do we want to buy that action figure? Come on. Ken, what are your thoughts on Sigourney Weaver role?
Well, first of all, I agree with you, Jed. Yeah, I think even I have to admit, like my mind goes to some senator or like a quiet, serene, mother of something, another night sister, another witch. She's centered and calm. She's how about she's a older retired Mandalorian warlord, who they run into or have to go to, and she takes the mask off and she's fighting. That kind of thing would be really cool for her. I do worry. She's this big name, and I want to make sure I'm clear here. I think the 3 seasons of Mandalorian have done a great job of bringing in wonderful performers. We always joke about, Favreau just went to the 90s sketch comedy and was like, get them all. Let's do it. And I think it's worked for me. And I might even have some names, to suggest in that arena. But I sometimes felt like Christopher Lloyd. I loved his. I mean, we got to hear Christopher Lloyd in Star Wars mention Count Dooku in a post-Return of the Jedi story. Love that. But I had this idea like he'd be his character from Star Trek. He'd be this, and he had a little tiny, dare I say, quirky but important role. You know what I mean? And I think that's happened a few times where so-and-so got cast, or Michael Biehn, he's got a great role. He's got a great episode, but that's that. And so I have a little bit of fear that I'm going to be super excited for Sigourney Weaver to be all over this film. And like you said, both of you said, like, she's 5 minutes, gives Mando a sword, and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, that's my fear. I'm going to push past it and think whatever it is, it's going to be perfect.
Yeah. Is it a Michael Biehn or a Bill Burr?
Yes,
right?
yes,
Because
yes,
like
yes.
he's one of the quirky casting that could have been like, yeah, he gets announced and he makes fun of Mando in a bar for 5 minutes.
Yep.
But then he
Yep.
ends up being kind of an important character with
Yep.
two big roles, two big
Yep.
episodes.
Two big episodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think since this is early in the process, I kind of have hopes for a larger role. I think the stakes of the film have to be a little bit bigger and higher. I agree that if it's a senator, I want a rogue one with 8 blasters.
Right.
I love her role in Cabin in the Woods. It's a horror film I really like. It's really got some like. Her screen time isn't huge, but her importance is huge. That she's in some ways kind of like a final boss. So something like that. This saddens me, but maybe a new magistrate of Navarro, because they have to deal with the incredibly tragic passing of Carl Weathers. If she's a real ally to Mando. I also thought like crime lord or warlord, a lord of any kind, really. But something big, something important. And my last joking one is maybe she's a living embodiment of the Force during a Grogu quest vision.
Yeah. I actually like that a lot.
Oh, yeah. Or we just hear her voice.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. She plays the planet Yothon that we jokingly assume.
She is Yothon.
Grogu is grown on a pod on the planet Yothon. No, the whole Mandalorian and Grogu, and we will have plenty of time to talk and speculate about this film. But I continue to wonder if it will be about Grogu's journey, because that was kind of the cliffhanger in season 3 of he's got to go have these experiences in life to become a Mandalorian. Mandalorian season 3 starts his journey of looking at his trauma and addressing it. So I'd be fascinated if the film was dealing with how does Grogu take a step forward? How does he process the trauma, the dark times before Mando rescued him? So if the story deals with that, it's fun to think of how could a character that Sigourney Weaver might play interact with that. So that's how I got to living embodiment of the Force.
Or Star Wars therapist.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure this is just the beginning. And again, in all caps, in talks, this might not happen at all. Yeah. But we're going to be seeing lots of these articles of people who are in talks or cast or maybe cast or whisper cast and all that. So Jennifer, who else is in your dream cast for The Mandalorian and Grogu?
Oh, I have ideas. 2 women come to mind. Michelle Yeoh would be fantastic. She could do action as well. She could bring gravitas, emotional heft. Another actress that I absolutely love. I just watched her in Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Donald Glover. Maya Erskine. Forgive me if I pronounced her last name wrong. She can do the emotional drama. She can be hilarious, and she can do action. I was like, oh, Donald Glover should be. Oh, he was in it. So, yeah. So, anyways, but those 2 women would be amazing.
Jen, I've got good and bad news. She was in Star Wars.
Wait, who?
Maya Erskine. Kenobi.
What?
She's
Wait,
in Kenobi.
when?
She's one of the speeder pilots.
Oh.
But here's the thing. It was kind of a casting cameo.
Yeah,
you know
kind of. I mean? Yeah.
So
that's not enough. No,
yeah, I know what you're saying.
Give her more to do.
Yeah. We can do an Andrew Serkis, right? I mean, why not?
Yeah, if Andy Serkis is running around.
Come on, Andy Serkis, please. Yeah, so bring her back. Bring her back.
Repurpose.
Oh gosh, I forgot about that.
I
I wondered. I was like, has she been in it? Anyways.
Yep.
That's great. It's great though. She's great.
Yeah, this is great. I just gotta. Do you have more, Jennifer?
No, that's it.
Okay. I appreciate the muting, but for those of you not watching the video, Jennifer mutes. So sometimes there's a moment where she's reaching to it like it's the comm on like a drive-through at McDonald's.
How can I take your order? It's because I have my daughter is sick and she's like talking to herself. I think she's playing Roblox. I'm not sure, so I have to mute myself. Bye.
She might be communing with Yothon, the spirit of the Force, is played by
Sigourney Weaver floating there in your living room, Jennifer. For myself, I know I bring this up all the time, but Denai Guerrera, well known from Michonne in The Walking Dead and Okoye in the Black Panther and MCU, just think she's a phenomenal actor, and very similar thing of the kind of person who's been cast in The Mandalorian of like, you know, great gravitas, great physical ability, all these things that can good comedy sense too, can stretch in lots of different directions. So I always want her in Star Wars, but in particular in The Mandalorian, it seems like a good match. The other weird one that is not going to happen, but I would love David Lynch to be cast in a very small role. It fits in the Werner Herzog thing. I don't think he's leaving this house for it. I mean, he did the thing for Spielberg, and then he gave an interview that he did it because the Spielberg agreed to give him copious Cheetos on set. It's don't want to spoil it. It's in The Fablemans. It's phenomenal. But in that just sort of pantheon of let's get this older, grizzled hero of the arts. And then the possibility that I could buy a David Lynch action figure. That's what it's about. So David Lynch is a wild one. That's not going to happen. Final one that I know from our discussions, Ken, that you're on board with, and I'm curious to hear Jennifer's thoughts. I will let all of this go. This is fun speculating. This is not what it should be. But if it was a story that at least partially leaned into Grogu's trauma journey, Ahmed Best returning in both Jedi form, and everybody has a fan theory that because Ahmed Best Jedi character got help from Naboo, that we could see Ahmed Best acting with himself as Jedi and Jar Jar. If the show was dealing with Grogu's past trauma and flashing back, see Ahmed Best back on big screen Star Wars, that would be a hell of a thing.
I'm sorry.
Thoughts? No, go for it.
I just had like this reaction of just hearing Jar Jar speak to Grogu, and it's like overwhelming with just like emotions. You're so cute. I don't know what he would say to Grogu, but
the Grogu's first words should be to Jar Jar. Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, that'd be awesome.
I mean, and talk about like Star Wars is finally coming back to the big screen with Jar Jar. Like, yeah, amazing, amazing. Keller and Beck. I apologize. I was spacing on the Jedi name of the rescuer of Grogu. Ken, what are your thoughts in general and any reaction to Ahmed Best?
I absolutely need to have that. I mean, I don't know, man. I think it's seriously like a 90% chance that he does take him to Jar Jar. That rewatch that moment, right? That's one of the greatest moments I think the last 10 years of Star Wars. In all of Star Wars is Keller and Beck showing up and Grogu, and it's like, I'm paraphrasing, get him to our pal on Naboo. Like, come on, what are we doing here? Like, this is Jar Jar. Put a beard on him. I don't care. Make him Darth Jar Jar. I don't care. I agree with that, and great casting choices all around. I have different choices in different directions, but long as
go for it.
Yeah, I went with kind of the Mandalorian TV show castings of a lot of like outside the box fan favorite types. So one, I want George Wendt in Star Wars. Let's just continue the Cheers collection going on. Because of Amy Sedaris, and I even sometimes have confusion where I know both of them, and I know their work separately and independently and their importance, but I've even joked on, like, I sometimes think Tracy Ullman is Amy Sedaris in Mandalorian, and I think Amy Sedaris is Tracy. So get Tracy Ullman, and then just complete the super talented sketch trio. Get Catherine O'Hara.
Oh, wow.
People will be like, did you know the mom from Schitt's Creek was in Home Alone? Yeah, wait till you find out what else she's done. So have a scene with Amy Sedaris, Tracy Ullman, and Catherine O'Hara. Just have a scene with be hilarious. Because we got a Favreau connection, I'm trying to pay homage to Iron Man. RDJ in a cameo that's unannounced, unheralded, and in a mask or a creature or something, but have Robert Downey Jr. just there with his buddy Happy on set. Have Happy Hogan and Iron Man reunion just somewhere in the background. Was not a lead casting, nothing like that. Something like that could be fun. And then this, because we talked about the gravitas of Sigourney Weaver, it's like, who's the actor with the most gravitas who could come into Mandalorian and Grogu and up it to an unbelievable level. Get Daniel Day-Lewis out of retirement as some lost Jedi. I don't know how or why he'd ever come back, and I don't know why it would be for Mandalorian and Grogu, but there you go, Daniel Day-Lewis.
I drink your blue milkshake. I would happily see that. Hey, if you're talking about Favreau reunions, let's throw Heather Graham in there too. I'm a big Heather Graham fan.
You know what I was thinking? Yeah, Swingers connection. That's because we couldn't bring. You can't bring in Vince Vaughn because Vince Vaughn's going to be Vince Vaughn. Like it's going to be Vince Vaughn in Star Wars. But Heather Graham, that's a great option.
Yeah. There we go. A wild collection of actors we like.
Yes.
Appear in Star Wars. I do think that they're going to try to cast some bigger names to really make this feel like a feature film, a reason to go to the movies. So I'm very curious to see how it all plays out. But that is it. That's what they're looking at. There's plenty of breaking news. That's the news we chose to cover this week. Ken, I'll kick it to you to take us home.
Yeah, we are the ForceCenter podcast feed and the ForceCenter show. You can find us on social media at ForceCenter Pod. That includes Instagram, Facebook pages, ForceCenter Podcasts. Hey, if you're watching here on YouTube, subscribe if you would. Help us reach that goal of 9,000 subs. Podcasts available in a lot of spots. Just search, you'll find us. Merch available at tpublic.com/user/ForceCenter. And you can support us directly at patreon.com/ForceCenter, or just swing by the shop. Check out 007 Center. You can catch our talks on Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace. Follow me at Ken Napzok. Go to my website, kennapzok.com. I got collectibles on sale. I got ticket information. Books still going for about another 3 weeks before I finally shut down that version of the website. That's where you can find me. Jen, where can they find you?
You can find me unboxing things at Jennifer Landa on Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok at Jennifer Landa 1138.
There you go, Joseph. Good news conversation. A lot of Darth Jar Jar fun. Where do they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on all the social media at Joseph Scrimshaw is my handle everywhere. And if you want to keep up with all of my film adventures, I'm trying to keep my website, josephscrimshaw.com, all updated with where the film will be screening. Got more screenings coming up to announce. I'm thrilled that it's going to be playing in the UK. So if you happen to be in Southport, just south of Blackpool, you can check it out. This beautiful pub cinema, our film Nightmare Adorable. Like I said, check out my website, josephscrimshaw.com. That's it for me, Ken.
That is it. All right. We'll see you, friends. See you next time for Darth Jar Jar and his reign of terror that is coming. We'll see you next time here on ForceCenter.